How about another round of applause for Brandon Tatum? He's pretty good, right? He's the only guy in the room with a better tan than I've got. He's really good. So a few people came up to me when I walked in tonight and they said, I remember when you spoke last year for President Trump. Believe it or not, it was a year ago Tuesday when I hit the stage in front of 18,000 sold-out bands and about 50,000 on the street at Madison Square Garden, and I spoke on behalf of President Trump. That was 9 days before the election, 9 days before Donald John Trump once again became the President of the United States. And as my friend Siggy Flicker, where are you, Siggy? There you are, look at this, is she beautiful to watch? She's great. And Stella Escobedo, both of them. As my friend Siggy talked about earlier, Trump wins, and he bestowed the honor upon me and Siggy, and John's here tonight, and Barbara. We're all going to serve now on his Holocaust Memorial Museum board. We're going to be sworn in next month, December the 8th. Look out, we're coming to Washington, D.C. But with all the great things I've done in my career, and I've done many, this is the first time I've ever spoken at the RJC. Let me give you a story. I'm in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. I had to be there, trust me, it wasn't a vacation. It was the RNC, you remember it well. And it was Thursday afternoon, that was the night where President Trump accepted the Republican nomination to be President of the United States. And I had nothing to do. So I saw my friend Ellie Cohenim, and she said, what are you doing now? I said, I'm going to go to the gym. She said, no, come with me. We're going to Marquette University, and I'm going to go to the RJC. I go, what is that? She goes, it's the Republican Jewish Coalition. I go, no kidding. All right, why not? I walk over there, I walk in, and this is a who's who of everybody. I mean, you name it, they're there, right? Mike Johnson's there, and Kristi Noem was there, Nikki Haley, Governor Abbott. Everybody was there, everybody. And I go, how do I not know about this thing? What is this thing all about? I go, who runs this thing? So it turns out who runs this thing is a guy I know pretty well. He's my first cousin. And we're very, very close. Not like those cousins who only see each other at parties. We're very close. His late mom, Beverly, and my mom, Naomi, were sisters. We grew up together in Brooklyn, New York. Now he went to Iowa, became a great politician in Minnesota. Now he splits his time between D.C., Florida, and Minnesota. But Norm Coleman is my first cousin. He's making this long speech, and I said, how do I get up on stage? He goes, not today. Not today. Anyway, Norman, thank you so much for inviting me here today, and Matt Brooks and all of you folks. So many friends in the audience today. The greatest radio host and TV host in the history of our business, Mark Levin, is here. Also, the smartest man the God ever created. He's got to be the smartest guy ever. I love him. I listen to him every night. I got the Fallick family sitting here, Tila Fallick, Simon Fallick. Wonderful people. I met Bibi Netanyahu because of these lovely people. Spent a lot of time at their house in Jerusalem. Just loaded with big friends in the audience tonight, and I appreciate that. So I live in this little city called New York City. And about 10 days ago, on one of my shows, I talk about this mayoral election every day. And obviously I know two of the three candidates pretty well. I don't know Mamdani, who I referred to in 5 different words: terrorist, jihadist, socialist, Marxist, communist. Those aren't great words, by the way, but that's him. He gets all 5. But I know Andrew Cuomo just a little bit. In fact, I've hated Andrew Cuomo for the better part of 10 years. And Curtis Lee, what happens to be a friend of mine. But I decided a little while back that even though Curtis is a friend of mine, that my stance on this election was going to be anyone but Mamdani. Anybody but Mamdani. So I decided to put Andrew Cuomo on my radio show. And I hate the guy, okay? I don't mince words, okay? I hate him. So I put the guy on my show. And at one point he goes to me, he goes, Sid, could you imagine if, God forbid, there was another 9/11 and Mamdani was sitting in that big chair? And I said, yeah, I can imagine it. He'd be cheering. Oh, I just set the Muslim world on fire. the Muslim world, the Islam world, the Democrats. You know, they've led the nightly news with this like 6 straight nights. Even this morning, MSNBC, this is 10 days ago, they're still talking about it. They're waiting for me to apologize. You know, in one day, I got called out on Twitter by Ilhan Omar, by Mamdani, by some guy named Sean King, by Kathy Hochul, by Bill de Blasio. This is in one day. I said, wow, I'm really doing something right? I'm a hero at this point. I'm a hero. I take none of that back. I said he'd be cheering. And the press has asked me time and time again to apologize. And New York has asked me to apologize, and all the New York Democrats. And I won't apologize. Because I really believe in my heart of hearts, he wants us all dead. All of us. But could you imagine that we're at the place in our lives right now that New York City, outside of Israel, more Jews in New York City than any other place in the world, we are this close to electing a Jew hater as the mayor of our city. And I know the latest polls came back this morning and Cuomo is moving up in the polls, but gun to my head right now, Mamdani is going to be the next mayor of New York City. Here's the worst part. A lot of the folks that are supporting Mamdani, I saw the numbers the other day. Siggy, you sent me something. It's down to 14%. No, it's not. A lot of the folks that are supporting Mamdani are Jewish. When somebody explained to me what has happened to our people, I can talk about Tucker Carlson all day. He's a douchebag. I can talk about Candace Owens all day. I got a word for her, too. It rhymes with punt. I got a word for all of them. These are Republicans, mind you. These are our people, right? But Jewish people voting for a man that wants us dead. I just saw a commercial a couple of days ago with Reform rabbis who happen to be some of the worst people God ever created, just so you know. It's about as bad as it gets. 3 ladies, Reform rabbis, dancing in the streets in the joy that Mamdani will be the next mayor of New York. But here's where we are. So when this group gets together and talks about Israel, talks about Hamas, as important as it is, now it's home. Now it's home. I mean, you got to understand, I was the type of Jewish kid growing up with Norman Coleman. I've always been proud of my religion. I say this every time I speak. I'm not exactly the most religious guy, you know. I was the type of kid who would celebrate the first 2 Seders and eat veal Parmesan on the 3rd Seder. I don't observe Shabbos. I only have 1 set of dishes in my house. But I've always been a very proud Jew. October 7th, I became an animal. I'd never gone to Israel in 56 years. I've been back 4 times since. Again, thank you, Alex. Thank you, Alex Trayman and Sippy Trayman and the One Israel Fund. Thank you, people. I've never been more proud to be a Jew. Never. And that day destroyed me. But now it's here. I believe there's what, over 200 now elected officials that are Muslims. Maybe 800 by the end of the year. Sid, don't say that. Muslims are good people. Well, if you listen to me, which a lot of you do, I don't beat around the bush, and I don't care what you think about me. I don't want Muslims running this country, and that's the bottom line. When somebody can explain to me how their ideology, their religion, their philosophy is in line with the Constitution of the United States, then I'll apologize. You raise your hand right now if you can do that. Somebody? Somebody? No, it doesn't. It doesn't. I'm pretty familiar with the Bible and the Torah. There's no murder in there, right? If you don't believe what we believe in, we don't want to kill you. They do. Now, I'm not saying every Muslim's a bad person. But when you preface something with something like that, the odds are, a lot of them are, right? I don't want to preface it by saying this, but the truth is, it's a problem. And when they took over New York City, which they're about to do in 4 or 5 days, the rest of the country gets a heck of a lot easier. We all can't move to Florida. I'm sorry, Siggy. I lived in Boca for 16 years. I was bored to death. Bored to death. And Israel is great, but they play football games at 3 o'clock in the morning. That's weird for me. So for some of us that actually like New York City, and some of our better states in this country, it's scary. So I think we need to figure out, as a group of strong and proud Jewish people, what do we do from here? How do we make sure that this invasion doesn't continue? And how do we make sure that my 16-year-old son Gabriel and 21-year-old daughter Ava can take the 6th train in New York City and wear their Star of David and not worry about getting home safely? That's our job, okay? This is all great. It's a gorgeous hotel. The food's great. We'll have a big gala tonight. Brandon Tatum's great. Scott Jennings is great. It's all bullshit compared to the big deal, which is we need to protect each other. And we need to find a way to protect the United States, Israel, our finest cities and states, and get back to being America, because right now, this is not the country that I recognized when I was a little boy on Quentin Road in Brooklyn, New York. God bless you all. Thank you very much.